Hello, I'm Jo Kiminade and I'm talking to John Knorr, CEO and founder of Uglii Corporation Limited. Uglii is a system for developing businesses and economies. John, can you elaborate on that for us?
The Uglii system is a very powerful system based on spatial processes, which I won't go into. The system has really got facilities for every legitimate business on the planet to use and governments to use. It's got a wide range of services, some of which are suitable for all businesses and others that are specialised. Okay, so the system is very diverse, it's very powerful.
Now, John, the system will be rolled out around the world by affiliates registering businesses into the Uglii system.
Yep.
And I believe that affiliates will mostly be banks, telcos and postal systems.
Well, they'll be owned by those organisations.
Right, okay. Yep. And 10% of those will be owned by independent organisations.
That's right.
I believe that industry organisations are a strong market to become affiliates.
I and the other people here at Uglii are very excited about industry organisations because they're in a position to be very powerful educators of business because they're close to businesses. They have a vested interest in those businesses being successful, because if they're not successful, they're not going to pay their fees to the industry organisations. So there's a very close symbiotic relationship between industry organisations and businesses. So we're particularly excited by specialised industry organisations coming on board as partners in their economies to help their membership join the Uglii system and get the greatest benefits from the Uglii system that they can get.
What are some of those benefits?
There's myriad benefits in the Uglii system. It's about discovery, it's about marketplace processes, it's about using intellectual property well, it's about protecting trademarks. There's a whole lot of things in the system that industry organisations can help their members benefit from the Uglii system. So we think it's a very exciting correlation between the Uglii system and businesses, clearly, but we think businesses are going to be better served if they're served by industry organisations.
And can these industry organisations as affiliates, is there revenue, commission?
There's a lot of revenue, yeah.
Okay.
The system is a rich system without exploiting businesses. So because of our automation, we can charge businesses reasonable fees for our services and distribute reasonable amounts of those fees to our partners, such as industry organisations.
Okay.
So everybody's benefiting from those processes.
And what does it cost for an industry org to come on board as an affiliate?
Well, if they can get on board, it's not going to cost them anything.
Right.
But they have this revenue stream that will be enduring for as long as that business is in business.
Right.
Okay. Even if they leave the industry organisation because they don't like the industry organisation services, the industry organisation will still be paid the money that they're entitled to through the Uglii agreement.
For registering in the first place. Okay.
Yes. So it's an enduring and expanding revenue stream.
Okay. What would encourage them to register?
Well, firstly, there's 5 free services that are very powerful.
And registration's free?
Registration's free.
Right.
And businesses can come in and use those 5 free services for nothing and get incredibly powerful benefits from it for their businesses.
Okay.
So what we know from our test marketing is those same businesses will happily buy Uglii services that are appropriate for their business.
Right.
Okay.
Over and above the 5 free services, then that's a fee-based service.
Yeah, there's another 65 services. Now,
oh, okay.
Now, most businesses will buy perhaps 5 or 6 services at the most.
Right.
And then the specialised services for businesses that own trademarks, for example.
Okay.
And there's another 9 services for those businesses.
Okay.
And then the services that go off into for governments and local governments, the services for banks and telcos.
So they're specialised?
They're specialised, okay.
Right.
So most industry organisation members won't go near any of those.
Right, but there's 5 or 6 that any business in the world.
Yeah, and we like to think that businesses own trademarks and encourage businesses to own trademarks because it's very important for their wealth and continuity of a business.
Yes.
So we probably talking about 5 or 6 and then another 9 that are going to be ultimately used by most businesses.
Okay, right.
So the system is very powerful, it's it will become very lucrative for the industry organisations, and it will enhance the relationship between the business and its industry organisation,
Right.
because they can see they're getting a lot out of this process.
Okay.
And if the industry organisation takes on the role of nurturing and encouraging and educating business to use the system, then they're going to get more and more benefit out of it.
Right,
And that's
okay.
very easy these
Okay.
days. You only need one person to really understand the system.
Yep.
And talk about it through emails and newsletters and so on.
Now, these services, they're very affordable, John. I believe that they're also scaled per economy, so that if you're in a developed economy, your service is $1 and
Maybe it's $1. Yeah.
yeah, and down to 20 cents in a less developed
So
economy.
it's 20% of the.
So that
of
really
the
does
fees.
make sure it's affordable to all businesses globally.
Our point of view, the idea is to help all businesses globally. We want those businesses and those economies to become richer and more prosperous, and in the process, of course, pay more money for our fees. But the whole system, Uglii system, is about economic development. And you
Okay.
can't have economic development unless you've got business development.
Sure.
So the core of the Uglii system is about business development,
Okay.
and it's applicable to every business, no matter what the business is.
Okay, John. So, what are the industry organisations going to be competing against? What other partners?
Well, Joe, there seems to be a fairly strong trend for governments to have their postal systems appointed as what we call national partners, and
Right.
they appoint their branches as affiliates.
Right.
So the postal industry is going to be a fairly strong player, we think, as well as a lot of banks interested in the system, okay, because they can use the system to help their business clients grow,
Sure.
okay, and be more prosperous. So the banks like that, the system.
Okay.
Telcos are fairly interested in the system because it's about growth and prosperity. So
Sure.
it's helping their clients do better, and they're the main areas of contention, of competition for
Right.
industry
So
organisations.
they'll take up the bulk of
I think they'll
affiliate
take
positions.
up the bulk, and perhaps 10% of the affiliates in the Uglii system will be owned by what we'd call independent organisations.
Right.
Okay, so not connected to banks,
Okay.
postal systems or telcos.
All right. With the postal systems being the main national partner, is this through dealings with their national governments or?
Yes, we deal with both the governments and the postal systems. We have relationships with about 70, maybe a few more national governments around the world.
Okay.
And they're universally enthusiastic about the system, and most of them are enthusiastic about having their postal systems come on board as partners.
Because of the revenue.
Well, it's because of the revenue, and postal systems are potentially very good partners for Uglii because of their geographic spread.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're sort of at the other end of the scale to industry organisations.
Sure.
Industry organisations are powerful for us because of their industry specificity.
Yep.
Okay, and
Yep.
they can focus and get businesses using the system as best they possibly can.
Sure.
Okay, but of course, there's a lot of businesses in this world that are remote, small farmers in developing
Sure.
economies, and those organisations.
And postal systems have a relationship with pretty much everybody.
That's right. So in one sense, there's a sort of spectrum from specificity to geography, I suppose,
Yes.
that's important for the system.
Sure.
But industry organisations, yeah, we're very excited about industry organisations.
Okay.
And it's not costing them anything to
Right.
join.
Yeah. And they have great opportunity to earn enduring revenues.
Look, there's a lot of money in this system, and there's a lot of money in search and all of the processes that we talk about. Ours is a much bigger system than any other system in the world.
All right. So, if an industry organisation is interested in this opportunity, how does it go about coming on board?
Well, Joe, they can go to our Uglii website, which is www.uglii, which is spelled uglii.com/industry orgs.
Right.
Okay, and there's a lot of information for them, and it's various information. There's interviews and there's all sorts of stuff that they can look at and read before they try and make up their mind. There's information such as about patents and those sort of important background information that they need to make an intelligent decision about what we're suggesting. So, yeah, they'll get all that sort of information there too.
Can you elaborate a little bit about the patents, Uglii's patents?
Well, Joe, this company is based on patents. It's an
Right.
intellectual property rich organisation, and we've built it that way. Our patents relate to business processes, so we think we've come from very good ideas, fundamental ideas that are good for business. Most of our shareholders are business owners, okay, so
Right.
they understand why we're doing these things.
Okay.
And they include industry specialists, of course,
Okay.
too. So,
Yep.
so we've got a culture. We've got 2,500 shareholders.
Okay.
Okay, so we're a fairly big company.
Sure.
Yeah. So the whole culture of the organisation is about doing business better, more specialisation, more intelligence,
Okay.
and all of those things.
And you've got patents around the world? Or?
We've got patents that cover about 50 odd countries, 56
okay.
countries,
Right.
I think, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
People can go and look at the website that we're suggesting, and
So all that information's there.
it's all there.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you're interested in the opportunity of becoming an affiliate with Uglii, go to uglii.com/industry orgs and all the information will be there for you. Thanks very much for talking to us today, John.
Pleasure, Joe.